Well, it's an off day for the Brewers. It comes in the wake of 5 straight losses and getting swept by the Nationals at home over the weekend. Milwaukee struggled a year ago to open the season before righting the ship and winning the most games of any team in the majors. Veteran Brandon Woodruff cautioned fans about overreacting to what they've seen so far.
You know, we've been a club that has won a lot of ball games over the last few years, and it's still early. I mean, it's so early. And it's just one of those things. You know, as a team and as a ball club, you'll go through these ups and downs, and that's part of the game. Just have to clean up a few things and keep giving ourselves chances, and that's the main thing.
Milwaukee going to be back in action tomorrow when they open a series against Toronto at American Family Field. Turning to the Bucs, Doc Rivers officially won't be back as head coach next season. Team announced he was stepping down after 3 years. Milwaukee went 30-52 this year, missed the playoffs for the first time in 10 seasons. Meanwhile, Wisconsin looking for a new athletic director after Chris McIntosh resigned to take a position with the Big Ten office. McIntosh had been the athletic director for the last 5 years, said he wasn't looking for a new role, but the one provided by the Big Ten was too good to pass up.
Everyone should feel confident about their path forward. Exact Sciences has teamed up with UW Athletics to help promote eradicating cancer by preventing it, detecting it earlier, and guiding personalized treatment. The Exact Sciences Athletes Program is unique as it connects UW student athletes with Exact Sciences' work to provide breakthroughs in cancer care and treatment. Exact Sciences and UW Athletics helping raise cancer awareness to make a difference in the Madison community. Learn more at exactsciences.com.
Well, the Packers are in the final stretch of preparing for next week's NFL draft in Pittsburgh. The team has hosted a double-digit number of players on visits in recent weeks. Green Bay isn't slated to be on the clock until next Friday with pick number 52 of the second round. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Pritt.
You talked when you hired Luke about championship-level expectations at Wisconsin for the football program. As you look forward to year 4, what does success look like to you? How will you determine whether this is a path that is working?
Yeah, I think the priority for me is to continue to grow the program in a way that puts us in a position to achieve those expectations. That comes in many forms. It's not limited to wins and losses. There are so many factors that contribute to that, and that's where my priority is. I think, just to reiterate, I am excited about where the program can go. There is a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done. It will not be easy. It will require all of us. This is why I'm so grateful for the support that Chancellor Mnuchin has given us. The level of alignment that we have right now is at a level that I've not experienced here in my time at Wisconsin. It will require our fans and our supporters and our donors to be part of it, but it's for those reasons that I'm optimistic about our chances.
Dave, besides Lindsay, I know you got a strong opinion here, baby. Chris McIntosh has stepped down as athletic director.
The Apple Man.
The Apple Man. Chris McIntosh, the Apple Man.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
So the sound in the intro, that was Chris McIntosh and Jesse Temple back in early November. Remember when he did a couple of interviews? One was a sit down with Jesse. We played all the clips on the show, which is why I had all the audio saved. I was digging back through it. And it's funny to listen in hindsight now, talk about all the optimism he has for the future of the program. It's funny now that he's not going to be a part of the future of the program because breaking news, was it last night or this morning? It would have been last night, right? That Chris McIntosh is, leaving his post. We can talk about exactly how that came to be, but he's not the athletic director anymore. So those comments from last year about, I remain so excited and optimistic. I don't know that they ring hollow now. It's just funny in hindsight. The part of that interview that really rings hollow now is when he talks about alignment. At all levels of the university, we're aligned in our shared focus and our vision. I don't think he said it that way. That would have made him sound much more intelligent than he did. He kind of stammered for what was a kind of a softball interview with a few select reporters. Love Jesse, and I'm glad that he got the story, and that audio and the video was great, but it was like, hey, we're going to make our guy available to Jesse and like one or two other guys, and it's all fairly scripted. He did not handle that script very well. Again, talked about alignment. Well, it's funny that the number one person he talked about being aligned with, Chancellor Jennifer Mnuchin, also within the last couple of months, she's leaving. So, the JO move over the table. I mean, they're just saying what they need to say. Neither one of them were long for this world, especially Mnuchin. That's where we will begin tonight, is the news that Chris McIntosh is moving on. Oh, and the audio in the intro as well. That was Dave from Monona. I think the nickname, the Apple Man, is just so funny. And we might have a little bit more fun with that as the show goes along. The Apple Man. Shout out Dave from Monona. Chris McIntosh is out. So that's where we will begin. And I'll take your phone calls on this if you want to join. 608-321-1670. We also get to talk about the departure of Doc. I swear there was a pun to be made there. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. I sat here for the last 5 minutes before the show started trying to come up with something, and I got it. But there's a joke or a pun to be made there somewhere about apples and doctors. Also, the Brewers just might be bad. They might be in trouble. I know it's early, but all we have to go on is the last, 5 games or so since we've talked. They look bad. So we can discuss that as well. I'll get to your phone calls after our first segment. Remember, you can watch and listen to the show. Download that Wisco Sports Zone app. Best way to listen and watch this show. Find the podcast. Ebo in the morning, Bill in the afternoon, and a new episode of The Camp with Zach and Jesse tomorrow. That will be a doozy. I saw a lot of people going live last night in different Madison/Wisconsin-based radio stations and podcasts. I was like, I'll wait for Zach and Jesse, please. I'll wait for the pros. So that episode will be out tomorrow. I believe Zach and Jesse shared earlier today. So I saw a lot of folks on the internet, fans, Badgers fans, and alums, and just people who cheer for the team, celebrating on the internet last night. We're celebrating. Finally, the athletic director, Chris McIntosh, is gone. The Apple Man, he's out, right? And I get why Badgers fans might be happy about this news. Plenty of missteps in his tenure, for sure. I mean, if you really, really want to get into the nitty-gritty, and RJ does a great job talking about this on the morning show, what happened with the track facility, right? So the indoor team has to go to like friggin' DeForest to practice. There's an issue, not a lawsuit, but an issue in women's cross country. There was an actual lawsuit with Marissa Mosley in women's basketball. The bricks. Remember the incident with the bricks? Remember that? Not great. Legacy donors just throwing their things away, right? So I understand the frustration with Chris McIntosh, and I understand the appetite from Badgers fans with a new leader. 100%. I get it. But I do not think this is a good thing. Or better stated, I don't think this bodes well. Maybe that's what I should say. This doesn't bode well, in my opinion. And I don't think Chris McIntosh was particularly good at his job. I think there were plenty of missteps. I think they really lacked early on in this decade the vision of what was coming and how to prepare for it. So they lacked a little foresight and a little ingenuity that maybe some other Big Ten programs had. And you're seeing some of those other Big Ten programs, especially in football, but also to a different degree in basketball, too. They saw what was coming. They prepared themselves, putting up a framework for NIL, mobilizing their base, mobilizing their donors. I think Wisconsin was a little slow on the draw. So certainly he's far from perfect. But I don't think this bodes well. Because no matter how you spin it, and I'm not really sure how to spin it, because I don't know how this went. But no matter how you spin it, I don't think this bodes well. When we first learned about this yesterday, and Todd Milewski broke the story, the State Journal, Badger Extra, he was, funny enough, he was on the show on Friday. We were just talking hockey because I thought, wow, that'll be the big Badger story for the weekend. So I didn't know McIntosh was just days away from getting removed. But in Todd's story, and then in the statement put out by Chris McIntosh, and all very early on at first blush, it kind of seemed like he was resigning. It kind of seemed like he was stepping away, walking away of his own volition. In the Sports Business Journal reporting, he got this job that was created in the Big Ten, come and be the vice president or the director or deputy of whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like government, just make up a role, or radio for what it's worth. Executive producer, associate producer, vice president of content, whatever. You can make up titles. I'm sure you do this at your work too. It seemed like maybe he was just walking away, which I think would bode poorly. But then I read his statement, and I'll read you a little bit. This is what he put out this morning. Dear Badger Nation, as you already may be aware, we're aware, Chris, the Big Ten Conference has announced my appointment as the conference's first deputy commissioner for strategy, a.k.a. They invented this job, and I'm taking it. I'll stop with the editorializing, and I'll just read this here. I am honored that Commissioner Petiti and the Big Ten Council of Presidents and Chancellors believe that I, can contribute in a meaningful way to advancing the conference during this time of unprecedented transformation in college sports. With this announcement, I have resigned as UW-Madison's athletic director effective today. Okay, so the first part of this statement kind of tracked with what I got at first glance last night when this news broke. He doesn't want to do this anymore. For whatever reason, he doesn't want to do this anymore. So he's going to take a little less money to go do a different job that's probably cushy. He can probably do this job however he wants. It's like becoming a consultant if you're a coach. Like, yeah, you're not going to make as much money, but way less responsibility. And it's just kind of a job. Like, it's just yours until you don't want it anymore. They're not going to do performance reviews for a deputy commissioner for strategy, right? So it kind of seems he's resigning. He's stepping away. This is his choice. Okay. So I'm going to continue here. There is never a good time to leave an organization, especially one where I feel so connected and where there is more great work to be done. I was not searching for something new, as not only do I love the University of Wisconsin, but I also believe the position of its athletic director is one of the best jobs in the country. This newly created position with the Big Ten Conference, however, represents a unique and incredible opportunity for me to draw on the experience and insight I have gained over my many years to help shape what comes next for the conference, including the University of Wisconsin. I see it as a natural extension of my work. So there's more to this statement, but I think this serves as just a fine jumping off point. Quote that jumps out to me, I saw Vagabond John and Zach Heilpern and others pointing this out on Twitter. I was not searching for something new, meaning I wasn't really looking for a new job because I love this job. And I think it's one of the best jobs in the country. But this new job, I guess, is a good opportunity. And I guess it makes sense because I work in college sports. So I don't think Chris McIntosh was straight up fired. And I don't think he walked away 100% of his own volition. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think Chris McIntosh maybe saw the writing on the wall. Jennifer Mnuchin on the way out. New president coming in because they don't have a university system president. There's no current chancellor. The football coach that he hired is coming to the end of the line. Maybe if it doesn't go well this season, this is kind of the make it or break it year for Luke Fickell. Because the first three, I mean, you just figure out how to coach. That's how the University of Wisconsin runs. So you come in, the first 3 years are gimmies, and then the fourth year, I guess you really got to prove your stuff. I guess that's how it works now at UW in the Big Ten. Program's fallen quite a ways. I don't think he walked away of his own volition, and I don't think he was fired. I think he was in the middle. I think he saw the writing on the wall. He was a little uneasy about his future and about where this thing was going. And maybe the interim chancellor, Eric Walcott's, maybe the lack of a system president. I don't know. Maybe it was Jay Rothman, right? Was that his name? Maybe Chris McIntosh was tight with Jay Rothman, and now he's out of there because he's been canned. So he saw the writing on the wall, was uneasy about his future. Maybe he doesn't get along so well with Eric Walcott's, and he's like, look, this is going to turn into a battle. This next year is going to be no fun. I don't see it ending well. You guys want me out. I see where this is going. Let's just find a way to dress this up. And, now I'm not going to say that I walked away. I'm not going to I like this job. I'd like to keep doing it. But the situation with my football coach, with the people who work above me, it's getting to a point where I'm probably not going to be in a great spot. So, okay, fine. And we can create a job within the Big Ten where I can go work as long as I want. And I'll make less money, but it's a good job. And it's less stress. And people aren't going to crap on me for everything. We're not going to have Dave from Monona calling into local radio stations, calling me the Apple Man. God, that's fun. It's his best nickname. It's not close. Bat Girl is a close second, his nickname for Luke Fickell and his bat signals. Remember when those were exciting? I just hate the timing of this. I don't think Chris McIntosh was the forever athletic director. I just hate the timing of this. The natural progression for me would be Jennifer Mnuchin is going to Columbia, the chancellor who Chris McIntosh was so well aligned with. Remember, he told us that last November. The alignment is unlike anything. Oh, we're so aligned. It's unbelievable how aligned we are. Remember that? So she's going to by the way, I'm not exactly a bureaucrat here. I don't know how the hiring practices work, but I would assume UW is not going to go years on end without either hiring a new permanent chancellor from within or bringing in someone from the outside. I don't think, and I should hope, they're not going to have an interim chancellor for years on end. So here's what UW should have, in my opinion, this is the way that I, in my dumb, regular Joe brain, saw this thing going. I thought, well, they'll spend the next year or half year, ideally not a full year, but we're going to spend, let's say, the next calendar year here, a little less, figuring out who the chancellor is going to be. Maybe we're going to promote an interim person within the school who worked under Mnookin, maybe, I don't know. Or maybe we're going to conduct a nationwide search and we're going to bring someone in. You get that person in place just as this football season is culminating, and we'll have a one more year of data on Luke Fickell. I just would have kept Luke Fickell and Chris McIntosh tied together at the hip. Those two, their futures are decided in this upcoming year. And if the new chancellor decides, well, Luke Fickell's really figured it out and we feel like he can continue to drive the bus with football, maybe they keep him and fire the AD, maybe. Or more likely, they're both just shipped out at the same time, and then it's clean. You have a chancellor that likes their AD, and you have an AD who feels directly tied to the football coach. That's the way I saw this thing going. But now you have a football coach on an island with no permanent athletic director. Eric Wilcox is going to take over as the interim chancellor. No permanent chancellor. I'm not even going to comment on the UW system president because I don't know enough about what that job is or how it even works. But we have a football coach going into a make or break year, making a pile of money, just passed a bill to give taxpayer dollars to the NIL system at UWL, so more money's coming in, with no permanent AD, no permanent chancellor, and no system president. I don't love the job that Chris McIntosh did. I think most people really have a lot of nits to pick with Chris McIntosh. But I have a hard time seeing why that is a recipe for success. No president, no chancellor, now no athletic director. And in what order are we making these hires? And by whose authority are these hires being made? Who's making these hires? No one remains in power. And I was just asking around, some Badger people, people who are on the show, is like, is there somebody in the athletic department who they feel, well, that's the one. That person is just going to step up and take over for McIntosh. Everybody views that person as the next, because I don't know. So I asked a bunch of people today. I'm like, is there someone who worked under McIntosh or maybe who's been there for a while? Is there an ed policy to Mark Murphy's, athletic, to Mark Murphy's Chris McIntosh? Is there someone in there? And a bunch of people were like, no. They have a million assistant athletic directors. There's no one who seems like a natural fit. So we have no system president, no chancellor, and now no athletic director. And I don't think he was some star athletic director, but now there's nobody. The ship's being driven by a bunch of interims, and the football season into which we're now entering is probably the most consequential in a while because it's going to decide the future of Luke Fickell. And if somebody, I don't know who, decides Luke Fickell isn't the person to continue coaching after this year, that buyout's going to be massive. The next hire is huge. And is the hire going to be made by the new permanent athletic director? And will that new permanent athletic director have the support of the chancellor working above them? Again, the system president is a thing. I just don't know enough about that person. Like, is there going to be alignment? This is what bad organizations do. Bad organizations fire the coach with the quarterback hanging on, or fire the GM with the coach hanging around. So then the GM gets there, doesn't like the coach. So then they fire the coach, and then the GM gets fired, but the coach is still there. So now the new GM comes in, has got to figure out what to do with the coach, and it just on and on and on and on. So I don't think Chris McIntosh is a stud. Made a lot of mistakes, but it's less about that and more like who's running the show down there in the square. I don't know where the athletic. I would imagine it's down by the Capitol somewhere. Well, Grant, it's actually out in Middleton. Well, that would be weird, but I guess I don't know, so it could be wrong. Who's running the show? Wherever these offices are, I don't know. That's my concern. That's my worry at this hour. I'll take your calls on this next if you're interested in joining the show. 608-321-1670. To you next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Tonight we start with the McIntosh news. We'll talk about Doc Rivers a little bit. I want to talk about the Brewers a little bit. No shortage of topics this evening. Marcus Sedbury going to be the interim director of athletics, and I'm just laughing at the tweet from the UW Badgers account. It says Marcus Sedbury's impact has been significant since joining the Badgers in 2022. Oh, so he wasn't even here before when things were good. He's been vital in shaping Wisconsin's future in competition and the classroom. We're confident in his leader as interim director of athletics. We got interims everywhere. You got interims coming out the ass, which is that's my concern. My concern is not, Chris McIntosh is great at his job. I'm sad he's not here anymore. No, I think his tenure was full of mistakes and examples of short-sightedness. But who's running the shop? Who's in charge? And in what order are permanent replacements going to be made? It's the process. That's what I'm concerned about. I think that concern, by the way, concern's very valid. I don't think I'm being dramatic here for the sake of the talk show. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, Clemhead Mike leading off today.
Clemhead Mike, what a voice of reason to begin the second segment here. What's going on?
Well, in honor of Phil Garner passing away on Saturday, I wanted to repeat my Phil Garner story that I told you a couple of years ago.
Sure.
Back in the 90s, our Fox 48 team in Eau Claire, they sent out a notice to all the companies that advertise on their channel. We all got to go on a bus trip, and we got free food, free beer. We had a nice tailgate set up, and we got to interview Phil Garner. And we were talking to him, and people were asking stupid questions like, "You going to win today?
No.
You going to win the World Series?" I said, "How about that bench clearing brawl you had yesterday with the Oakland A's, and the Oakland A's player that started it was a former Brewer? Was there any bad blood and all that stuff?" And no, that just things got out of control. And then at that time, I was wearing a tank top, and at that time I was big and strong. And he said the ultimate compliment to me. Phil Garner's a pretty tough guy. He says, "Mike, if we have a bench clearing brawl today, you're with me."
Yeah, right.
That is so cool. I mean, I always have that memory.
I think there's a lot of Murph in that too. Spirit of Murph. I think he'd probably say something similar. All these years later. Yeah. R.I.P. to the team honored him, I think, greatly this weekend by, for the most part, playing just like his teams played for a long time, which is to say really, really poorly. God, they looked bad this weekend, Mike.
Oh God. I tell you, we started out last season really bad too. So this year, things will turn around. Churiel will get healthy. Vaughn will get healthy. I don't know. I don't want to throw in the towel yet, but my 90 win prediction is not looking good. I can't change it now, but I would try to change it to like 85 at the most. I'm just not feeling too confident, but we still love our Brewers. We'll still watch.
Well, Mike, they've never won anything of consequence in my lifetime, really, and we still love them. So this is. It's not like they they win 78 games. Appreciate the call. There's a couple others I don't want to get to. Mike, have a good night. Okay.
Yeah. You too. Thanks. See ya.
Yeah, have a good one. It's not just that, it's early. Yeah, it's early, but I'm concerned about their bullpen, very concerned about their offense, about their health. I'm least concerned about their starting pitching, but that still doesn't mean it's great. We'll get more into the Brewers later. More from you, 608-321-1670. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, Phone Roller here. Crazy weekend. A lot of stories.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stories.
If
anything, Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Colin. That was bad by me. Continue.
Just like all this stuff with UW, it's just a great lesson in the amount of bureaucracy at these universities and all these people involved. And, we wonder why it costs $40,000 a year to go to these schools.
That's a very good point. A lot of bloat. I was just over the break. I saw Dr. Marte, a good Badgers account, tweeted a clip from Pardon My Take about how Big Cat has called the university multiple times trying to donate, and no one's ever gotten back to him. And I think that story or that anecdote is emblematic of the problem. Like, if you're a Wisconsin alum right now and you're passionate about sports and you want to call who are you talking to? What's the structure? Or if you're a Badgers fan, it's like, well, maybe I would donate. I don't know. You look at what's going on. Why would this encourage you? You know what I mean? Why would you feel moved as a Badger alum to, you know what? I got to call them and give them my money. You don't even know who's in charge.
Yeah. Who do you even call? I mean, I had a close working relationship with Chris. I don't know where my checks are going to be going now, but for Big Cat to not even get a call back is just crazy to me.
That's brutal.
And also floated this around the booster circles, kind of like Succession. There's a camp that's rallying around Greg Gard actually to be the next athletic director.
Oh, really? Promote him?
Professional, knows the Wisconsin way, good with NIL dollars, leader of men. I think Greg Gard makes a lot of sense.
I've talked to alums too who have talked about Mark Johnson. What a good person. If he ever wanted to walk away from coaching and wanted to take a bigger role, I just don't know, Cone, if this day and age, and this is maybe kind of sad, I don't know that an athletic director should be someone with a background in athletics. You need a background in business. People now who are running athletic departments or GMs are coming from Fortune 500s. They're coming from apparel companies. It's just a different game these days. You don't have Barry Alvarez types anymore. You have people from CEOs who are looking to make a couple million and hobnob with big time donors and that sort of thing.
Well, UW's got a lot of CEOs, so, they should have a pretty well built out Rolodex.
One would think. I don't know. Who's the woman who runs Epic? I wonder if she could do a day in Verona and then a day in UW. I mean, everyone does remote work, right? Hybrid workplace. This would be nothing new, I suppose. She's probably pretty busy though. I can't remember her name. But a big Badger alum of note.
Epic's already had a pretty big stamp on reshaping Madison. You can debate whether that's for the better or for the worst. I don't think I want her near our athletic department.
It would make all of the houses directly adjacent to that area double in price as they have in Verona. Nice. I love Verona though. Very nice area.
Yeah, probably some new bus lines going in.
Yeah.
Tearing down actually the existing houses to build those cheap, 5-story apartment complexes that charge you $1,800 for a studio.
Wow.
One of those places.
Walkable city for sure. I appreciate it, Cone. If you hear anything in your booster circles, you let us know. Okay.
Yeah. And last thing, I'm just starting to think that the Jackson Churio injury might not actually be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
But with that, I'll hang up and listen. Have a good one, Grant.
An update on that. Appreciate it. I forgot about that. Appreciate it, Cone Roller. Yeah. If you're not familiar with that reference. So opening day, the Brewers won and they kicked the snot out of the White Sox and we're on the air. And I can't remember who called in. It might've been Coyote Mike. Called in and said, you know what? I think the Jackson Churio injury is going to be a blessing in disguise because it gets, opportunities for other guys to play and get their feet wet. And the point I made at the time was it's incredible what one win on opening day will do for how you view things, right? You went on opening day. It's like Jackson Cherry, I wish he was out longer. It would just be more at bats for Garrett Mitchell. You lose 5 in a row and maybe not so much. Cone, you mentioned how many CEOs hail from the University of Wisconsin, and it might be more than any other school. And people see that and say, well, UW should have money coming out of their ears. And UW should have more money. I don't know that just because you're a CEO means you're a bajillionaire and that you want to donate a bunch to the school. I don't know that those two things are directly connected, but I agree that UW has a big alumni base of successful, wealthy people. And people have pointed out, well, UW's alumni base and the people who've gone on to succeed, they're not as interested in sports as alums from other schools. Indiana's obviously the prime example. Just because there's lots of rich people that went to UW, that doesn't mean that they want to spend on sports. And that might be true to a degree. In fact, it probably is. But here's what I was thinking about this morning. When you're thinking about how Chris McIntosh's tenure went, I think they were a little slow to the draw. I don't think it's an opinion. I just think they were slow to the draw on establishing a framework for NIL, for donations, for outreach with their alums and their boosters and all those sorts of things. I think they were slow. And I just wonder, had they been on top of it from the jump, had they been ready right away, and their football program stayed good, and their football program didn't go in the tank, maybe that means they hired Jim Leonard, or maybe, just maybe, it means we hired Luke Fickell, but on top of hiring Luke Fickell, we've also been preparing this framework for connections and outreach to boosters and alums, for money coming into the system for players. Vagabond John used to call on this all the time, and he would make fun of like the little piddly website that UW had. And he's like, it's not good enough. Now look at Iowa's. But in hindsight, like, what if Wisconsin had done everything the same with Luke Fickell? They made all the same hires, and but early on in this decade, they had seen what was coming, and they had established a framework, and they had mobilized their alums and their boosters, and the football program didn't immediately go in the tank. Well, now all of these alums who we think, well, they don't have any interest in sports. Well, once upon a time, I wouldn't have thought, well, who really cares about football? Indiana fans. But it turns out when they have a coach and the university goes about it the right way for this context of college football, turns out they're willing to spend a bunch. Now, Mark Cuban helps for sure. But had UW set it up better and they weren't immediately behind the 8 ball, I wonder had they done a better job if this alumni base that everyone says has no interest in spending on sports, I just wonder if they would have had a little bit more interest in spending on sports. That's it. I still don't think they'd have Mark Cuban Indiana money, but I think they'd be way better positioned now, and I just wonder what that difference would look like. I wonder how many more wins they've had, bowl appearances, different players, just a completely and totally different perception of the program as a whole. I don't think that's a wild idea or a wild thing to conceive if they had just been ready for what was coming, and they clearly were not, and Chris McIntosh was at the forefront of that. It wasn't just him, but clearly at the forefront of it. We'll take a break, a couple of minutes, more of your calls on the other side, and a tribute to Chris McIntosh, or as Dave from Monona has called him, the Apple Man. We'll get to that next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisconsin weather doesn't ease into spring. It keeps you guessing. That's why your windows and doors need to handle everything. At Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, we build for year-round comfort. Now get 0% interest until 2030. That's years of no interest, so you can upgrade now and pay over time. Plus, enjoy a free in-home consultation, expert installation, and a 10-year limited warranty. But order by April 30th. Schedule today at PellaWI.com.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show, a couple of texts here. This is from the 262. We don't get a ton from the 262. Says, agree with you on Chris McIntosh. Not 100% fired, but not out on his own terms. I agree. It was somewhere in the middle. Is he for sure taking a pay cut? I don't think the Big Ten's going to pay him $1.5 million, or a little bit less than $1.5 million, which is what he was making. Also, I believe the Board of Regents is who will hire the president and chancellor, then the chancellor to the AD. Also agree this puts Fickell in a win now or get fired this year. Needs 8+ wins to stay. If he had 6 or 7 under Chris McIntosh, might have kept him. Thanks, Cindy. That's an interesting take, right? Does this up the bar for what Luke Fickell needs to accomplish? Jesse said on Ebo's show this morning, like, I don't know, even if they win 6 games and make a bowl, is that enough? I would lean no. I would certainly lean no now because Chris McIntosh is gone. Madtown Ryan says, we don't know how to donate. As a former alumni, I actually have no idea how to donate to the NIL program. It shouldn't be that hard. And what I would tell you is just like, go to the website. It can't be that hard. But it's funny. I saw that clip from Pardon My Take where Big Cat is like, I've called multiple times. They don't get back to me, which is insane. Insane. And also, if you're a potential donor on the border, I've always thought I'd love to give back to my school or whatever. I don't know. And you look at this now, it's like, well, they don't have a permanent chancellor, don't have a permanent AD, don't have a. So where's my money going? To replace some bureaucrat? I don't know. The Apple Man, he will be missed. Shout out to Dave from Monona for coining him the Apple Man. I think it's his finest nickname. I had about 20 minutes of spare time this afternoon, and I was laughing at some Dave audio. I went back and listened to his call this morning because he put Chris McIntosh on blast, the Apple Man. And I started thinking, well, what if I made this into, a little Dave from Monona angry montage, a little Chris McIntosh montage? I said, okay, Apple Man. What song could I fit that to? And I'm like, well, what about Rocket Man by Elton John? That wouldn't work, would it? And I started just kind of futzing around with it. And it very quickly, this might be the finest thing I've ever done with my time at this company. So without further ado, this is Apple Man. Shout out Chris McIntosh and Dave from Monona.
He was about to get kicked out of here. They even got a president. The next president was going to boot his ass out of here. I mean, all these people soft soaping. What the hell we pay Zach for? And Jesse and all the other rest of the a-holes that do reporting in this town. We don't get nothing. All we get is, they created a new position.
I am excited about where the program can go. There is a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done.
Oh, the Apple Man.
It will not be easy. It will require all of us.
Apple Man. Oh, the Apple Man.
This is why I'm so grateful for the support that Chancellor Mnuchin has given us. The level of alignment that we have right now is at a level that I've not experienced here in my time at Wisconsin. It will require our fans and our supporters and our donors to be part of it, but it's for those reasons that I'm optimistic about our chances.
Oh, the Apple Man.
The alignment from the top, Chancellor Mnuchin.
Apple Man. Oh, the Apple Man.
He's the Apple Man. Chris McIntosh out. Shout out Dave from Monona, probably my favorite nickname of his. Hilarious Chris McIntosh audio in hindsight now. Just so aligned with Jennifer Mnuchin. Well, she's headed to Columbia and you're headed to the deputy strategic director of something or other. 608-321-1670. Back to your phone calls. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant is Apple Man on Spotify.
Yeah, well, it should be. And I think Dave from Monona should get some royalties. Tony!
Grant.
Now I got you.
Can you hear me, Grant?
Yeah, now I can. Yep, gotcha.
I'm just curious if Apple Man's on Spotify.
It should be, but I think we'd have to pay Dave from Monona royalties. So we'll work that out legally.
I don't know what all your listeners are talking about, the Chris McIntosh donations. I found the Human Fund. Chris had this Human Fund thing. I donated to it. And I don't know where the money went, but I'm sure it was in a good, for a good cause.
Money for people.
The thing
That's where it went.
Yeah, money for people. Right. So, our Wisconsin sports teams, kind of like our Wisconsin culture, like with the music and the haircuts. I go to Green Bay, they're playing stuff from the 90s. Back when I was a kid, they'd play stuff from the 60s, like, Twist and Shout and stuff at the games. We're always 30 years behind. We don't fire coaches, except the Bucks. The Bucks fire coaches like Donald Trump on The Apprentice. The culture of Wisconsin is just very interesting and fascinating, especially after living in Texas for 30 years. I think that's part of it, man. It's just the state culture. It's not up with the times, man. You got to get with it. I'm talking to UW, not you, Grant.
Yeah.
What's up.
No, I probably have to get with it, too. I appreciate it, Tony. They do love their 3-chord rock up there in Green Bay. Hinder and the like. Things like that. Appreciate the call, Tony. I think that this perception or this belief from people is, well, UW alums, they don't spend money. They're not interested in sports like other Big Ten schools. Okay, well, not like Michigan. And they don't have a Mark Cuban like Indiana. But hey, imagine at the beginning of this decade, had you been ready for NIL and established a framework and a network to reach out to your boosters and to reach out to people, And then your team doesn't suck. So people are like, oh, I'm fired up about this product. I want to be involved. Like, do you think Mark Cuban and all those Indiana boosters are cutting fat checks if the team stinks? No. They hired the right coach. They were ready for this. Wisconsin may have hired the wrong one. They weren't ready for this. UW doesn't have Mark Cuban, but this idea that nobody who's ever gone to school at UW with any money doesn't want to support athletics, I think is laughable. I think the school has made it hard. It's especially hard now. Why would I donate? Who's in charge? I'm not donating to something that doesn't have leadership, let alone good leadership. The Apple Man. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
This is the Marquette Warrior.
Hey, Pete. What's up?
Well, first of all, I don't think that Wisconsin hired the wrong coach. I mean, in hindsight, yeah, but at the time, he had just made the Final Four,
I'm with you on that.
Which is something Wisconsin had never done. So, you know, that part of it didn't work out. I think it was ridiculous, the amount of money and the length of the contract, because, you know, especially since it looks like we're going to be short on money, and you're going to have to be giving him $21 million not to work.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the people in the state, at least the people who are my age and maybe older Gen X, think that they want a coach that'll recruit local kids who run whose time in the 40 is 10 seconds flat.
Yeah.
And if he coaches them up, then he'll be able to create miracles. And that's just unrealistic. But I think that's what the people in the state want. And as far as asking people for money, actually, it's just like one a big booster, like at Oregon, you know, they have the Nike guy, and Indiana has
the Cubes.
What was he?
Mark Cuban.
Yeah. Right. So that's what you need, because it looks like the people in our state, the rich people, either they want to give to the arts or they're buying politicians. They're just not interested in athletics. And you know, I mean, maybe they can ask somebody for $2,000-$3,000, but that's penny ante change these days.
Sure.
And the other thing about it is that if you do hire Jim Leonard, I hope he has to know that he's got to recruit a whole new team every year. So it ain't easy. So the only person I know who can handle all this is, I think Dave from Monona should be hired as the athletic director, because he knows how to do everything, and he never makes any mistakes. And so that's who I want hired.
I think we should make both of you co-athletic directors. I think you would support and fill in each other's strengths and weaknesses very nicely.
Well, you know, I'd be out in front of Camp Randall with a sign that says, you know, we'll give perks for spare change, because that's what you need.
That's what it feels like. That's the way they're trying to do it, Pete. And I got to run. I'm just up against it. It's nice to chat. I hope to see you soon, maybe at a station event or a broadcast. I am not entirely against the take that Luke Fickell wasn't a bad hire. I think let's say he was a fine hire, okay? Because I think at worst he was that. He had proven that he did it at Cincinnati. He's got a wrestling background. He had been in the Big Ten at least. I'm not going to say that he should have been a slam dunk hire. I don't think he was a bad hire. I think a couple of things then happened after that. I think UW was unprepared for the changing landscape of college football, and they weren't organized, which Vagabond John talked about a lot at the time, because for whatever reason, he was going to like every team's individual NIL portal and like, how are these schools doing it? And UW was lagging behind. I don't think they were ready. So I think the money was a little short and the talent, the players were a little short. And then to make things worse, Luke Fickell went and hired Phil Longo, which set the program back 2 years. I mean, just it could not have been a worse hire, and it had major impacts. So if we go back in time, they hire Luke Fickell and they were ready for modern college football, and Luke Fickell hires a Wisconsin type offensive coordinator right away, then maybe they're decent to pretty good right away. And then your base is interested and engaged. We're building something here. This is the start of a new era. Whereas now, like, donors are tuned out. Pete, I don't agree with you that UW alums have no interest, because they're just interested in the arts or in donating to politicians. Sure, there's some of that too. I think had UW built the framework and put together a good product right away and been ready to meet those folks halfway, I think maybe they would have been a little bit more passionate or motivated to jump on. But now, good luck. You're trying to sell them a typewriter, basically, in a computer world. Like, hey, I'm calling from UW. We've noted that you've made a donation in the past. We're looking to beef up our NIL fund. Well, I can't tell you who the chancellor is going to be or who the athletic director is going to be or who the coach is going to be after next year. And yeah, your money might go to firing the coach and his buyout because the contract is massive. But hey, are you in? Are you interested? How's that call go? So, of course, they're not interested. UW's making it so friggin' hard. We'll take a break here, a couple of minutes on the Brewers to wrap up the first hour, and then we can get into the Bucks, back into the Badgers to start hour number 2.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Felt a little twinge in his hamstring, and we're getting it imaged right now. There is some fluid in there, so, let's wait and see.
Pat Murphy after yesterday's game. They've lost 5 in a row. Christian Yelich probably going to be out a little bit. Churio's already out. Vaughn's already out. Garrett Mitchell somehow is still healthy. If you told me, hey, Grant, come April 13th, give me 2 outfielders down. I say, okay, well, sure, but who's the other one after Garrett Mitchell? No, he's still playing. Thank God. Someone needs to watch pitches come right down the pipe. Here's the thing. I melted down a couple of times about the Brewers last week. about how they're a sucky watch, about how the offense sucks. And Grant, it's early. How can you? Okay. Well, here we go. 5 in a row. Am I allowed to talk about the losses? Am I allowed to talk about the team? I know it's early, but I mean, we could just not talk about the Brewers at all until Memorial Day if that's what you want. It's early, yeah, but we're going to talk about wins and losses. We have a daily talk show, so we're going to talk about it. It's not just that their offense stinks, because that's explainable by injuries. Somewhat. With a healthy Yelich, Contreras, and Terang over the entirety of the Nats series, they should have scored more runs than they did. But on balance, big picture, yes. They're feeling the loss of Vaughn and Churio especially, and now Yelich is down. So yes. Yes, that's explainable by injuries. If it was just that, then I would be less concerned. The problem is I think their bullpen might stink, because Koenig had arm tightness, which could be something much worse. His velocity was down. Uribe can't miss bats. The new guy couldn't miss bats yesterday, and Pat Murphy's brilliant idea was to send him out again in the 8th. What's his name? Why can't I think of it? You know who I'm talking about. McGill's lost some miles per hour. Uribe's lost some miles per hour. This is from Jack Stern exchange with Pat Murphy. If you remember last year at the end, it wasn't coming out great right at the end of those last 2 series in the playoffs. In the last series, we pitched him twice in the NLCS, maybe 3, but it wasn't coming out the same. This is about Uribe. It got better and he shows flashes, but it isn't as good. And like you said, he's not getting that swing and miss that he got, but pitchers go through that. Lower velo, on the topic of lower velo leading to less whiff. This is from Jack Stern. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Again, you go look at that one number. You've also got to look at the movement and the patterns of it all. He hasn't been as sharp for sure, but he's got the right insides. He's got that competitive fire. It's what we've got right now. So it's hard to say, well, okay, we'll just flip him out or give him a rest. I mean, we're a mash unit right now. Correct. Uribe doesn't look the same. McGill doesn't look the same. Koenig's not there. Zerpa couldn't miss bats yesterday. Aaron Ashby can only, pitch so many innings. So if it was just the offense that was a concern, and it was just injuries to, now Yelich, but Churio and Vaughn were already down. If it was just those guys, okay. Hold the fort, try to just float above 500 until you get some of your horses back. Okay, but what if your bullpen can't get guys out? And what if Sproat really isn't a starter for you? And can Woodruff be a normal pit? You know what I mean? They didn't let him go up for the 7th yesterday, despite only what did he throw? 80 pitches yesterday? Off day Thursday, off day today. It just feels shaky right now. Not to mention their entire lineup is just branch water. I mean, it's just all Lockridge, Perkins, Mitchell, Ortiz, who looks as bad as ever. Friggin' Renifo, Hamilton. Ugh. So thank God an off day today, because Brandon Woodruff needs it apparently. He can't go back out for the 7th, even though your bullpen is as Pat Murphy said to Jack Stern, a mash unit. Doesn't mean Brandon Woodruff can't pitch the 7th, though. It's not good in Milwaukee. So I'll take your Brewers phone calls if you're interested, but it's early. So I know no one wants to hear any of this. It's early. Can't criticize the team because it's early. But if you're interested, after Zach's update, we can continue with that. We can circle back to Chris McIntosh or talk about how the Bucs organization ain't doing much better than, the 2 organizations we've talked about. Doc Rivers on the way out. I have some funny clips and funny comments for some reporting now that's trickled out of that locker room. But first 2 minutes, the latest in Wisconsin sports, the headlines from Zach Heilprin, our sports director.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Wisconsin's looking for a new athletic director. That's after Chris McIntosh announced he was resigning and taking a newly created job with the Big Ten Conference. McIntosh said in a statement that he was not looking to leave Wisconsin, but the job with the Big Ten is a unique and incredible opportunity for him. Deputy Athletic Director Marcus Sedberry will serve as the interim athletic director. Complicating matters, current Chancellor Jennifer Mnuchin is leaving to take over at Columbia. She said in a statement that because she's leaving, interim Chancellor Eric Wilcox will take the lead in deciding when a search for a new athletic director would take place and what it would look like. McIntosh's resignation is effective immediately. Meanwhile, in Milwaukee, the Bucks made it official this morning with Doc Rivers announcing he would not return as head coach for a third season. Rivers went just 32-50 this year, leading a team that missed the playoffs for the first time in a decade. The franchise also dealing with the next steps in the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation. He said he's not sure if he's played his last game with Milwaukee, but the Bucks' decision to bench him in the final weeks of the season was, quote, disrespectful. As for the Badger basketball team, Austin Rapp announced yesterday he would be returning next season. The forward averaged nearly 10 points per game and 4 rebounds while shooting better than 36% from three-point range.
Everyone should feel confident about their path forward. Exact Sciences has teamed up with UW Athletics to help promote eradicating cancer by preventing it, detecting it earlier, and guiding personalized treatment. The Exact Sciences Athletes Program is unique as it connects UW student athletes with Exact Sciences' work to provide breakthroughs in cancer care and treatment. Exact Sciences and UW Athletics helping raise cancer awareness to make a difference in the Madison community. Learn more at exactsciences.com.
Well, the NFL draft just a little more than a week away. Things get going in Pittsburgh next Thursday. Packers don't have a first-round pick, but did add a couple later picks with the trade of Dontavian Wicks to Philadelphia last week. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
You talked when you hired Luke about championship-level expectations at Wisconsin for the football program. As you look forward to year 4, what does success look like to you? How will you determine whether this is a path that is working?
Yeah, I think the priority for me is to continue to grow the program in a way that puts us in a position to achieve those expectations. That comes in many forms. It's not limited to wins and losses. There are so many factors that contribute to that, and that's where my priority is. I think. Just to reiterate, I am excited about where the program can go. There is a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done. It will not be easy. It will require all of us. This is why I'm so grateful for the support that Chancellor Mnuchin has given us. The level of alignment that we have right now is at a level that I've not experienced here in my time at Wisconsin. It will require our fans and our supporters and our donors to be part of it, but it's for those reasons that I'm optimistic about our chances.
Dave, besides Lindsay, I know you got a strong opinion here, baby. Chris McIntosh has stepped down as the athletic director.
The Apple Man.
The Apple Man. Chris McIntosh, the Apple Man.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Hour number 2, the show presented tonight by Road America. It's America's national park of speed. Things are firing up. You can go to the website, roadamerica.com, and see all of their events over the course of the summer. The Vintage Weekend coming up. IndyCar. I'm going to try to get there for a Classics weekend, I think in September this summer. So if you're a racing fan, you're looking for somewhere to take the family for a weekend, I think it's undersold personally as a destination for a weekend trip in the summer, whether it's, Devils Lake or Door County or where people go in the summer. Road America should definitely be higher on a lot of folks' lists. So go take advantage. The camping is spectacular. The accommodations, the camping area, and just everything is top notch. So if you're taking the RV or just sleeping in tents, it's a perfect spot. So roadamerica.com to get your passes, to mark stuff down on the calendar, whatever you need to plan your trip over there this summer. Go multiple times. Heck, go every weekend. roadamerica.com. If you get a season pass, why not go every weekend? I want to get back to the Chris McIntosh stuff. I saw Dr. Marte. You might be familiar with his work on Twitter. Friend of the network. He did come to a station event last year. I think him and Vagabond John have beef, but I think they might have settled it. Tweeted a clip from Pardon My Take where Big Cat's basically saying, I have reached out multiple times, tried to talk to Chris McIntosh, tried to talk to get people at UW. They don't answer my calls. They don't return my calls. I'm trying to donate. I'm trying to get involved. Can't happen. I've also heard similar stories about, and when I say here, I just see them on the internet for everyone else. It's not like I'm back channeling here. I don't know anybody. But I've heard people say the same thing about Frank Kaminsky. And I know the Watts had a really, they might still be icy, but I know the Watt family had an icy situation with people at UW and Luke Fickell and the way their name was kind of getting thrown around in recruiting trips. It's like, this is why when we had Jesse on last week and he talked about his latest Badger Bite and his latest story at Badger Connect, was it Brady Ewing? I want to make sure I have the right person because all these start Brady Ewing. Yes, his role is alumni relations. And I mentioned this with Jesse last week. We didn't get into it, but I kind of said it in passing. Like, that needs to be important for the University of Wisconsin. They need their alums to feel like they're connected. Like, Dan Katz has to get a callback. JJ Watt can't feel like his name is being used. Frank Kaminsky needs to be able to get serviced. Like, please, let's get this stuff right. Because if you can't cater to those alums, if you can't motivate them to give you money, we're asking dozens or hundreds of alums who have money. They might not have Mark Cuban money, who are just looking for a reason, looking for some motivation, looking to feel something from their alma mater that's going to move them to donate. Because God knows the football team isn't giving it to them. They stink. But now there's no AD. Now there's no chancellor. Nobody who knows who's running the shop, who's minding the store. Rest in peace to Apple Man, Chris McIntosh, who's on to a new role at the Big Ten. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
How appropriate you come to me.
Dave from Monona, the Apple Man.
Apple Man. Let me tell you what's going on. You're not going to get anything out of Zach or anything out of Jesse because they're all gutless. No one in this meeting is going to tell you what's going on, but I'm going to tell you what's going on because I'm the only one who's going to be honest in the station. Barry Alvarez is pulling the strings. He rules Wisconsin, and he always has because, despite his personality with fans, he did bring this program to promised land. He's the one that hired Apple Man, and I bet you donuts to dollars behind the scenes. Alvarez pulled him aside and says, hey, you need to get out because it's not going to end well when the next president is hired because, they're going to get rid of you because it's all about money and it's all about finances. And Apple Man hasn't done anything. And that next AD they bring in has got to have connections to millionaires and billionaires because and you got to remember, you were here. Apple Man wasn't the right choice because he's a white man. Sorry, but I'm bringing race into it. Nobody wanted him here, especially Orlando Tucker.
Yeah.
But it's so people it's going to be
secret recording man, Orlando Tucker.
Yeah, but it's going to be. It's not going to be. A lot of people are upset that McIntosh got it because he's a white guy and they want minorities in there. Sorry, but that's the truth. But Alvarez is the one. If anybody wants to get the word, he knows because he's the king of Madison. And, he earned that right. Alvarez stuck around. He could have easily went to Miami. He could have left for the big bucks. But he stuck around for all those years and behind the scenes. So don't look for Jesse or any of those guys to get you the answers. We're not gonna know anything.
Let's go investigate at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. That's where it's all going down. That's where he's broadcasting to Badgers fans, telling them that they're spoiled and rotten.
Put the everybody you got technology nowadays where you can put the hidden microphones from like 2 miles away. And stuff like that. But it's going to leak somehow. Somebody knows, but come on, people. You think he left Wisconsin to go to a created position? The Big Ten, where Mr. Alvarez owns. Alvarez got him the job. He didn't get it on his own because you don't create jobs that fall out of the sky. But yeah, I'm fascinated to see what's going to go on, and hopefully, you were talking about who's the football player families?
Watt.
Oh, yeah, Watt family. And people like that trying to donate money. Well, all of a sudden Fickell's going to change with the new AD? No. Who's ever builds this house, you better stop and collect before you move because this is about to get ugly, my friend, and it couldn't happen to a better a-hole than Batgirl and Apple Man.
Appleman. Thank you, Dave from Monona. I'm not convinced. I think that's a very popular take that Barry Alvarez is secretly pulling the strings on all this. And I love the idea of the puppet master, the shadow governor of Barry Alvarez, who of course would then work under the real governor, Tony Evers, who works under the real shadow governor of Robin Voss, who operates out of the Foxconn Dome in Racine. So that's the progression of things. I don't know that Barry Alvarez is still involved. I don't know that. It's a popular, easy take to have. I don't know, but this certainly, to your point, Dave, leaves Batgirl high and dry in his last year, or what could be his last year.
The Apple Man.
The Apple Man, yes. The Apple Man left Batgirl high and dry because if they don't win this year, he's screwed. But what if they win 6 games, go to some dumpy bowl and get blasted in a game where none of their players play, and then they lose a bunch in the portal? Like, is the new athletic director going to want, yes, I want to keep paying that guy. I want to hitch my Apple cart to that horse. My Apple cart.
The Apple Man.
Correct, the Apple Man. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Dude, I've been following Dave, his phone calls, like, several times over the last couple of weeks. And I'm just laughing the entire time on hold here. It's wild.
Dave's an artist when it comes to slamming people in powerful positions, which I think is a lost art in 2026.
Let's put it this way. Just because they're not getting, the big donations from the Watt family and, notable alums, I still get the stupid mail every single month at my house that says, hey, we'd really like you to give some money.
Well, homeowner, sick brag. I'd ask you for money too if I didn't know if you're in a house. Yeah, I would send you mail too. Owning a home in Madison.
Well, it's ridiculous, man. Like, I'm not going to give them any money. I gave them a lot of money already, and then they gave me a degree, and that's the trade-off that we have here, right? So here's the thing: just because there's no AD, right? There's no chancellor, there's no nothing, doesn't mean that they aren't sending out these BS alumnus letters.
Oh,
they're
sure.
still sending those out.
Sure. But here's the thing. If I get a letter to first of all, if anyone asks me for money, the answer is 99% chance no. But on the 1% chance I have some money and I'm looking to spend it, I'm not going to give it to the group. It's like, so I don't know who's in charge. I don't know who's in charge under the person in charge. And I don't know who's in charge under the person who's in charge of the person who's in charge. Oh, and the coach might be canned this. Like, why? You come to me after a magical season where it all turns around and this new quarterback whose name I don't remember, I almost said Billy Edwards Jr., can't remember it. If he's a star and I feel like the magic has returned to Camp Randall, maybe, but they haven't been able to do that.
Well, not even if they have a magical season where they make a Big Ten championship run and they end up in the college football playoff, which is now 46 teams. Even if that happens, I'm still not giving them a dime. I'm sorry.
Well, you're not as wealthy as me. Clearly,
that is what the tuition is for.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
I'm not even an alum.
What? You're just gonna give money to a program?
I'm speaking on behalf of the hypothetical you, not you, but others like you. Maybe people richer than you. Now, those people might not own a home in Madison, so I don't know how rich they could possibly be. But like, again, if I'm just trying to put myself in the headspace, let's say I make I'm a big time hot shot corporate banker. I make $850 a year, $850,000. And I could be tempted because, I heard my other buddy who's a corporate banker, he gives money to UW. So what kind of a-hole does that make me if I don't support? Well, if I'm on the fence, is that guy or girl going to be moved to give money to the current product? Like, no. But I would argue if Vagabond John's talked about this, had the framework been there to begin the decade, had they hit the ground running with the new coach, I think there's more money in these streets. There's more money than most people are. I think you're letting the school off the hook by saying, well, sorry, the liberal alums just want to go to the opera. They don't want to spend on football. I don't think that's true.
No, you're not wrong. And if I saw something that was like, resembling more than mediocrity,
yes,
which is what it is, not even barely bordering on mediocrity at this point. If there was something to be excited about, then, we have different conversations, but they're not targeting me, and they're not targeting you, and they're not targeting anybody that simply owns a home in Madison. They're looking for the Fortune 500 CEOs and the whatnot that, the high level alums that they actually give a flying crap about.
The homeowners in Verona. I'd love
in Verona or
Maple
Sherwood Hills. Yeah,
I would love Verona. If I haven't made that clear in tonight's show, I like Verona. I would like to live there, but I don't have the scratch. I did see Chris McIntosh walking around in Verona last summer. I was kicking around on those trails in the morning I won't say exactly where I saw him, but I'm like, I think that's Chris McIntosh. He's got a look. You know what I mean? Like it's not hard to spot him. Let's just say that.
I just put McIntosh and Appleman together.
Yeah,
so
right?
We're just right now, like in the last 10 seconds. So that's cool.
Appleman.
Yeah, the Appleman. It took me a minute too, but Batgirl took me a while. But then when I figured that one out, it's like, actually, those are pretty funny. Darnell, I appreciate it. Good luck. I hope you get your softball game in this week. Kate and I should be hitting the driving range tomorrow, although classic Kate doesn't have any clubs, so she's going to swing mine.
That's very nice of her.
Yeah, no kidding. Have a good night.
You too.
Darnell the chump. Homeowner in Madison, not in Verona, though. We draw the line there. So, I mean, how much money is there really to be squeezed out of that guy? Jim in Cottage Grove says, I agree with Dave from Monona, and I usually don't. When I heard the story, I thought Barry Alvarez was behind it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know his level of involvement. So I'm not going to add anything to it. One more call this segment here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Well, I mean, first of all, to fail upwards, you got to be a very intelligent person, which McIntosh is. So he obviously could see the sign on the wall, I think. So I think he found this new position created and said, hey, I'm out of here. I don't think Barry had anything to do with it.
So I agree that Barry didn't have anything to do with it, Matt, in Cross Plains. Also not the cheapest place to own a home, a burgeoning community I would buy now. I don't think Barry had anything to do with it, but I wouldn't say he's failing upwards. He's going to make a lot less money.
Well, of course, but he's already got a lot of money from his NFL, status.
He's been a successful professional, yes, correct.
Exactly.
You still walk away from $1.5 million a year, though. Like us normal people, we say that so flippantly. Like I would never leave that job unless I absolutely felt like I had to.
Well, and the whole thing is, Darnell the Trump, you're paying the UW anyway through your property taxes, all the stuff that you pay around here for the state of Wisconsin. The state of Wisconsin
wheel tax,
the $30-some billion budget every 2 years, and we're paying what, 20-some million now to UW. So it's not chump change, but it's coming out of your pocket. And then, when you get that little flyer in the mail, like I do as a legacy UW Madison alum, you got to donate every once in a while to give, those poor kids, from the East Coast a chance to get a scholarship. Anyway.
Yeah. Kids from Massachusetts. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my daughter struggles to pay rent as a Wisconsin resident at UW, but she's graduating, so she's off to bigger and better things, hopefully.
Hey, same. And I am graduated, so she's doing pretty good. You tell her that. I'd prefer you didn't, actually.
I will, and no time to talk Cubs Brewers, but that's okay. We'll see what happens after Labor Day or Memorial Day. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll circle back. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we'll circle back. Yeah, have a good one.
Enjoy the natural beauty of the West Side and Cross Plains. Let's go to break here, and I'll come back if you're on hold. I spent about 20 minutes making this, and I just enjoy it so much. So we're going to play this as we go to break. This is a tribute to Dave from Monona and Chris McIntosh, the Apple Man. More of your phone calls coming up in just a few.
He was about to get kicked out of here. They even got a president. The next president was going to boot his ass out of here. I mean, all these people soft soaping. What the hell do we pay Zach for? And Jesse and all the other rest of the a-holes that do reporting us down. We don't get nothing. All we get is, they created a new position.
I am excited about where the program can go. There is a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done.
Oh, the Apple Man.
It will not be easy. It will require all of us.
Apple Man. Oh, the Apple Man.
This is why I'm so grateful for the support that Chancellor Mnuchin has given us. The level of alignment that we have right now is at a level that I've not experienced here in my time at Wisconsin. It will require our fans and our supporters and our donors to be part of it, but it's for those reasons that I'm optimistic about our chances.
Oh, the Apple Man.
The alignment from the top, Chancellor Mnuchin.
Apple Man. Oh, the Apple Man. He's the Apple Man.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
And increased support for football program NIL-wise, but that comes with the caveat of financially, maybe they weren't in the best position the last couple of years, and so it's what took so long because we've been playing catch-up. But, yeah, I mean, certainly there's going to be some good. While McIntosh wasn't responsible for the women's hockey program being great because they were great already, they did win 3 national titles under his direction. So, but ultimately I do go back to the football component of this because that was the boldest and biggest decision that he could have possibly made. And right now it's hard to say that football is in a better spot than it was, 4 years ago, at least on the field in terms of results.
Jesse Temple over the line this morning talking about Wisconsin's preparedness for what was on the horizon earlier this decade. And I agree. And I'm curious to think about a world in which they were ready and Luke Fickell doesn't hire Phil Longo. Those two things. Those are two pretty big things, right? Luke Fickell's offensive coordinator hire, which also was an extension to just the way he viewed the job in the Big Ten. His hiring of Phil Longo was is so emblematic of how badly he misread the room and misunderstood the job from an X's and O's perspective, not to mention the rest of it, which hasn't been great. But if he hires a more appropriate offensive coordinator and Chris McIntosh and the athletic department were ready, I want to know what that world looks like today, because I think there's a world in which Luke Fickell and this thing works really well, but it was a series of missteps around that hire, the incorrect hiring of Phil Longo, and then I think Wisconsin just wasn't ready. They weren't ready, and it's going to take a long time to get caught up. We're seeing it now. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, second cousin Mike.
Hey, second cousin. What's going on?
Getting any fishing in, first of all?
I went yesterday. Streams were blown out a week ago. They're muddy. I did okay. I feel like they're probably going to get blown out again this week with all the rain, but I did okay. They're a little streamer, little squirmy wormy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you have to explain Appleman to me.
Well, his last name is McIntosh, like the Like the McIntosh. I know, it's so stupid. It's so dumb that once you know, it's like, oh, duh. It's just such a Apple Man is just such a funny nickname. Oh my God.
Yeah, now I feel stupid.
I felt stupid. I didn't know it for the longest time.
All right, so I just want, because I missed your opening, but I just want to give a shout out to the Badger men's hockey team.
Yes.
They outshot, they outskated, and just it didn't go their way.
So the loss itself was brutal, and I think those guys will probably think about it for a long time. In the big picture, what a successful season, and one that I'm not really going to bellyache about. You know what I mean? Like, I saw so many Wisconsin sports fans on Saturday. Why can't we have nice things? It's like, that was a great season with so many great wins. It just came to a brutal finish. Sports do that sometimes.
The goalie, he's a freshman. He's a true freshman.
Yeah.
And if he wouldn't have lost his stick, I don't think that second shot would have made it.
Well, and you'll always be able to think about that. And also, it's just tough to win a hockey game only scoring one goal. You know what I mean?
It is, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know hockey that well, but I feel like that's just sound reasoning, right? Like, I've always said it's hard to win a hockey game only scoring one goal. I just feel like I can safely say that even as a non-hockey guy.
Yep, but they outshot them like 30-14 or something. So shots were on goal. Kudos to their goalie.
Yeah. Sometimes you run into a good tender, a good keeper, as they say in the sport. Second cousin, I appreciate the call. We'll have to catch up soon. Maybe go fishing. Someone with a boat wants to take me fishing. I'm always willing to go. I got muddy yesterday. Creeks were blown out. I drove through. I had the privilege of driving through Lafarge yesterday, back to Madison by way of Highway 82, and then I don't even remember. I was listening to the Brewer game, so I mentally blacked out as much of it as I possibly could. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
This is Louis in Eau Claire.
Hey, what's going on, Louis?
Hey, Grant. So Barry Alvarez, he's pretty revered in the state, and rightfully so. Almost all of the good things Wisconsin athletics has is due in part to him. But athletic director-wise, it's pretty checkered because he picked his successor to be the football coach, Bielema. He left him in a lurch, left him really without warning. Just I'm off this lateral move. Then hires Gary Anderson based off one game against Utah State with no connections to the area. Paul Chris was pretty obvious hire. That worked out pretty well. But Chris McIntosh was his hand-picked successor. This is a continuation of the Barry Alvarez athletic department. And I'm afraid, well, not afraid in terms of actually afraid, but with the interim president and the interim chancellor, that he's going to be wielding some power and his opinion is going to mean something. And whoever is chosen to be the new athletic director, I'm for the most part okay with. But if Barry's the one picking, I don't feel great about it. I don't think his ways are outdated based in an NIL era. There's pre-2020 college sports and there's post-2020. Barry's not fit to be a decision maker post-2020. I hope that's not what it comes to.
So I agree, Louis. That's a great call. You have a good night. Plus, he called us all spoiled rotten. Just I didn't like the smell of that room. That's not an expression. Feels like it could be though. No, my problem is not with the departure of Appleman, Chris McIntosh. It's who's minding the shop. Who's gonna hire, and in what order are the decision makers going to be hired? Luke on the dirt roads, lengthily text, but good. Says, the hockey natty left me with some deep heartache, but McIntosh gives me an outlet. Good riddance to him. Failing upwards personified. That he's moving into some sort of strategy role, probably made up by the Big Ten under Barry's influence to give his golden boy an out with the eventual hire of a new chancellor, is the height of irony. That's a great parenthetical, Luke. His deficiencies as AD, related to hiring, firing, and other personal decisions, eclipsed by his absolute failure when it came to recognizing and adapting to paying athletes. From sticking to a pure NIL approach, we'll get our athletes a lot of promotion opportunities, paraphrase, to moving slowly by all appearances, approach based on contracting legal system that doesn't live in the reality of the landscape. He's probably left UW 4 or 5 years behind and waiting for the world that will only exist after congressional action and following legal challenges. What a putz. I think that's actually a very good detailed breakdown. I think they were behind on all this. I think I think the UW athletic department had aspirations early on where it's like, okay, so we can pay players now, but it's not going to be pay for play. And, if great players come here and are good, I mean, I guess we'll help them, make money with we'll get their billboard on a, Bergstrom Automotive billboard or something. We'll get their face on that, And I guess in the spirit of name, image, likeness legislation, that's what it was supposed to be. Because that's what it's called. It was never supposed to be, we're going to pay you money to play sports. It's you are allowed to make money off your name, image, and likeness based on the notoriety you gain from playing on our field, on our television broadcast, which rights we are selling, for hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's what it was supposed to be. But it was never going to be that. And UW should have known that. But I think they had some preconceived notions or these grand, moralistic ideas where it's like, well, we're not just going to cut checks to players to come here. Like, all right, well, then you're going to suck. You're also going to hire Phil Longo, which won't help. Cone Roller. Oh, he just typed out the entire, typed out all of the, the lyrics to Apple Man. And I will read that over the break. He said Grok writing Apple Man. It's pretty, I wasted a lot of time this afternoon. I didn't waste. I got my tasks done. So I was able to make an Elton John parody. Those are the rules. You get your stuff done and you can, you can futz around in the studio. Thank you for the text, Cone. I will get to that. Maybe I'll read that after the break here. The Monday mailbag, by the way, coming up at 5:50. So submit your questions. Already a couple good ones in there. I'm excited. We'll wrap up the show with that. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about the exit of Doc Rivers coming up after this very short break. Just a couple of messages from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisconsin weather doesn't ease into spring. It keeps you guessing. That's why your windows and doors need to handle everything. At Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, we build for year-round comfort. Now get 0% interest until 2030. That's years of no interest, so you can upgrade now and pay over time. Plus, enjoy a free in-home consultation, expert installation, and a 10-year limited warranty. But order by April 30th. Today at PellaWI.com.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show. Monday Mailbag here in about 10, 12 minutes. To submit your questions, grandpills21gmail.com. I have a Bucks thought. But first, one phone call here, just in case this is Badger related. I want to give him an opportunity to go in before I take the ship and I turn it to the left. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Well, things ain't always what they seem. So wake up, Grant. It's Mad Max in the tunnels under Racine.
I could tell just by the noise of the car. Are you out on 794?
No, it's actually in the tunnels right now. This is tunnel noise.
Oh.
Evo asked the same thing today, so it can get a little noisy under here. There's a lot of activity going on today. So they're planning. They're up to something. I don't know what, but they're up to something down here.
Interesting. Well, what's up?
Yeah. So, whose new job do you think with their respective organization is faker? Doc Rivers with the Bucks or Chris McIntosh with the Big Ten? Because in both cases, it just sounds like they're failing upward to just a different role.
So, probably Doc's job with the Bucks, I would think, is more fake. Failing upward is I guess I don't think they're failing upward. I just don't think they're failing downward. Like, McIntosh is going to make less money, but it's not like he got made the commissioner of the Big Ten. He's just, there to help out with this and that. I don't think Doc Rivers' job is real at all. Like, that's paperwork. That's all that is.
Yeah, it's just like a kind of a cozy retirement job.
Yeah.
And but I think, and I made this point on Evo this morning too, and I think Chris McIntosh is a prime example of just how moving up in the corporate world is all about knowing the right people, just kissing the right asses, and and you'll have a job for life if you're in with the right crowd. And McIntosh, he latched on to Barry, and I think he'll have a job as long as he wants.
I want to work in one of those industries where it's like, even when you fail or even when you lose a job, like, you'll always, your buddy will hire you and make up a job at their company, or like the NFL is the same way. Like, I'll just be a consultant on one of my friends who all are on staffs all over the NFL. It's a great gig.
Yeah, and one last thing, Grant. The Brewers just suck. It's just hard to watch this team right now. And it's just, they've abandoned everything that made them successful last year. Just watching the games this weekend, it just looked like they were going half speed. I mean, Garrett Mitchell bobbling a ball in the outfield that led to an extra base, which just led to another run scoring. Joey 0 for 4 tees, just can't hit his way out of a paper bag. And pretty much all the additions. Matt Arnold, it's not looking like it was a good offseason for him. The only new acquisition who looks okay is Kyle Harrison, and I think the jury's still out on him. But I don't know. And Pat Murphy, it's almost like the way Pat Murphy is managing right now, it's like he's getting too bored with the regular season that he's just like making up new side quests and just trying different things just to see if it works. Like pitching Aaron Ashby every day, just throwing Zerfa back out there for some inexplicable reason to start the next inning, even though he was getting lit up.
Yes, I would agree with I would agree with all that, Max. You know who the most disappointing Brewer is so far this year for me is Sal Frelick. Like, he should be a guy in the absence of Churio and Vaughn and Yelich, where he's not going to slug 2 home runs a game, but like I want to count on you for something. I want to be able to count on you for something. I mean, even if it's 2 singles, even if it's getting on base with a walk, like he went 0 for 11 in that series against Washington.
Yeah, and just I'm a little worried that he's gonna be the next one that they're gonna discover an injury with how badly he's performing, because we haven't had enough of that.
Yeah, maybe Garrett Mitchell. Well, they won't have to make up an injury for him. I appreciate it, Max. Have a good night. I want to get to one more call here.
Yep, thanks, Grant.
I think Sal Frelick, very, 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 very disappointing. Garrett Mitchell had a sequence yesterday where he struck out, but then ran to first on an error by the catcher, then got picked off going to second, and then in the next half inning, misplayed a ball off the center field wall that allowed to run to score later that wouldn't have otherwise. Like, brother. Well, that's part of the Garrett Mitchell experience. What, he sucks 90% of the time and occasionally gets a single? Occasionally lucks into a home run? Well, Sal Frelick can do that. It's been since opening day, but I've seen him do it. Wisco Sport Show, who's this?
Bobby and Chautauqua, how you doing?
Excellent, Bobby. What's up?
Not a ton, Grant. Not a ton. Just got done fishing the other day. Heard you were hitting the streams. That other caller. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, you fishing up in old Chautauqua Channel Lakes, Red Cedar, that kind of thing? Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. I'm not about to give away my secret spots to anyone.
Nor should you. Nice. What's on your mind, Bobby?
Doc Rivers, the biggest fraud in NBA history.
Okay.
He won 1 championship 18 years ago, and he's riding that thing into the sunset. And now the sun is officially set on him. And the Bucks should have never entered a deal with them. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here, though. I think Giannis will stay, but we got to build around him. Rebuild.
We can rebuild around Giannis. I don't think Giannis is staying. Bobby, I appreciate it. Here's my take on the Bucks and Doc Rivers. He was always done after this year, the way this year went. So this is a formality. I have never seen a professional sports team waste the time of everyone involved quite like the Bucks did these last 2.5 years. Like, just, I mean, it was almost artful with how they did it. Like, when Doc Rivers was hired, if you put a firearm to my head and said, Grant, you need to predict exactly how this is going to go, I would have got 90% of this correct. I said, well, the rest of this year will be a little bit of a mess, but he came in the middle of the year. What do you want? The next year, well, that's only his first full year, and Damian Lillard, blah, blah, blah. And then I would have said, well, they'll make some sort of change after year 2 if it doesn't work, maybe relating to Dame, or no, it turns out Dame just got injured, so their hand was forced. And then after year 3, it'll probably get even worse, and they'll be forced to move on. That's what I would have said. And this was all so predictable. In fact, I think there's Doc Rivers all over the roster. I think Kevin Porter Jr. is the Doc Rivers of Eric Bledsoe's. I think Miles Turner is the Doc Rivers of, I don't know, who's it? Brooke Lopez's. Like, all of these players, this whole roster that they've created, the coach that they hired, it's just a bunch of guys who are like, they're good, and you could talk yourself into them taking this team to a high level, but you'd be lying to yourself, and you'd friggin' know it. You're like, well, maybe if the fit with Miles Turner's it. No, he's Miles Turner. He's always been Miles Turner. Kevin Porter Jr. is Kevin Porter Jr. He's always been Kevin Porter Jr. Well, Bobby Portis. He's Bobby Portis. He's the same guy he's always been. Well, Doc Rivers, players like him, and maybe if he likes Giannis. No, he's Doc Rivers. This whole team is Doc Rivers. It's the spirit of Doc Rivers. All the players on the team are Doc Rivers. And now we're getting the reports. I was reading this in Name Store today at The Athletic. Following a March 21st shoot-around in Phoenix, multiple league sources told The Athletic that Rivers called a group of veteran players together for a meeting in Mortgage Matchup Center. Is that what it's called now? Per multiple sources with knowledge of the situation, Rivers informed the veterans that he believed they had failed him this season and questioned the group's commitment, conditioning, focus, and leadership. Which, I mean, Doc sucks, but I feel like there's a bunch of coaches out there. Like, that's why Michael Malone got fired. He's like, these guys don't want to try. What do you want from me? So Doc Rivers informed the veterans that he believed they had failed him this season and questioned the group's commitment, conditioning, focus, and leadership. Rivers' message incensed the group, and the players stood up for themselves, firing back at the head coach over his claims. Quote, "That's when I checked out on the season," quote, one of the veterans told The Athletic. So when the coach accused you of being checked out on the season, that's when you had enough and checked out on the season. That, good. Yeah, you owned him. These players, man. And Doc Rivers is a boob. He's been a boob for a long time. Most of these players are boobs too. And Giannis is a boob. And if he signs his Supermax extension, I'll be happy to have him here. But this whole, well, you have to talk to my wife. Well, you have to talk to my agent. Brother, stop telling Jim Owczarski and Lori Nickel that, hey, if Milwaukee puts the right pieces, I love it here. Don't listen to anybody. I'm the source. It's me. And then you go home and you're talking with your agent. Hey, tell Shams this. Hey, tell Brian Windhorst that. Like, it's just disgusting. It's gross. So I am not on the side of the players nor the coach. I'm out on everybody. I think everyone in this situation should be, I don't know, should be flogged. A little bit from inside the NBA last night. I liked this sound from Charles Barkley talking about how there's a lot of punks in the NBA and there's a lot of punks in the Bucks locker room.
Well, let me tell you something. They got some punks in that damn Milwaukee locker room.
Why do they have punks?
When you leak what happens in team meetings, you're a punk. All right, Kenny, you know the locker room is sacred. You've seen fights. You've seen players that fight and coaches fight, correct?
Okay, I'm seeing where you're going, though.
That should never get to the press.
But it always does every year. It always does.
And let me tell you, when's the last time it happened on a good team?
Good teams don't fight.
That's not true.
Good teams don't fight.
Good teams do fight.
Because we got one leader that lay that damn fist down. Ain't no fighting in my locker room. Listen, what are you talking about? No fighting. Whatever I say, go.
Forever.
Sorry about that, Ernie.
No, it was an emphatic point. Yeah. Well made.
No, and I understand what you're saying, Shaq, but I just think when you're on a team, there's disagreements all the time. Players and coaches get into it all the time because it's an emotional game, a lot of things. But for the media and to know exactly what happens in meetings, that's just a punk-ass move, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I like that from Charles Barkley. You say, well, it's a punk-ass move to throw a guy through a window. Yeah. Okay, you don't have to like the messenger. But I think everyone involved, the players are going to feel like they're justified, like they're holier than thou and above it. Doc is going to feel that way. None of you should feel any sort of pride or righteousness from what happened this season. This text says 180 NBA players called in sick or just sat out Friday's game. What a bunch of prima donnas. Yeah, it's hard to take that league seriously these days. And I'm going to give the playoffs a fair shake. The Celtics look like a real team. Detroit looks like a real team. The Spurs, the Thunder, even the Lakers with Luka. Like, I'll give the playoffs a good college try. But the playoffs have always been good for the most part. I yearn for the years of the big three when the league had less parity. I think it was more fun. But I'll watch the playoffs. I have a real hard time investing any sort of time into the regular season. Well, it's on NBC now. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this. You could listen to Round Ball Rock on YouTube anytime you wanted for the last 20 years. It's not like NBC locked it in a vault. It's like, well, we'll bring the song back if we ever get the rights to the league back on our network. But Round Ball Rock. Yeah, Round Ball Rock. Great. Are Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum playing? Are all the players for the Thunder playing? Oh, no, there's 2 guys resting on each team. Okay, well, then take your Round Ball Rock and go away. I'll see you in the playoffs. The Monday mailbag is next. Please submit your questions, grantbills21@gmail.com. It's looking rather plump, so I'm going to break early here. We'll have a full 7 minutes to answer these when we get back.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Because the mail never stops.
Charles, we'll be writing to you.
Ah, she's got mail. That's the name of the book.
That's it, honey.
There's never a let up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more. And you got to get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in.
The Monday mailbag. It's full. Let's get right to it. Your questions submitted grantbills21gmail.com. Christopher says, Grant, UW has 3 major institutional vacancies: chancellor, system president, and athletic director. The answer: Barry Alvarez performing all 3 roles simultaneously in the manner of Marco Rubio seems relatively obvious. The question is whether UW will have the courage to do so. God bless and go blue, Chris. More of a comment, really, than a question. Mike just forward me the statement from Chris McIntosh. Appreciate that, Mike. Tyler in Massachusetts says, with Coachella happening this weekend in Indio, California, who, in your opinion, is a terrible singer but famous anyways? This is a good question. I thought about this earlier today. Only one comes to mind. Anthony Kiedis, probably. Probably Anthony Kiedis. I don't know that anyone else comes to mind. Probably Anthony Kiedis. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Lame answer. I wish I had someone better. I feel like there's probably some that I'm forgetting, but that's the one that comes to mind. Thomas in La Crosse. UWL Thomas says 2 questions. Number 1, Masters chairman Fred Riley mentions that Dude Perfect's All Sports Golf Battle 3 video from Augusta National is probably not the best idea. Your thoughts? I would agree. They need to stop doing Barstool type stuff at Augusta. They ruined the Waste Management Open because everyone realized how cool it was to go there and get hammered, and then the worst people ruined it. And now if they open that door, it's like, look how cool Augusta is. The worst people are going to go there and ruin it. So, anti. Number 2, Rory McIlroy became the 4th player to win back-to-back years at the Masters. In your opinion, where does he rank for you as one of the best tour players? I don't know golf enough to give you a list. I think it's a good result for golf that he won. I don't know that I love that all he did for the last 2 weeks was play Augusta. But also, why wouldn't you do that, I guess, if you could do that? Rory can't do that. What do you mean he went to the course and practiced? Seems a little silly. Although, don't tell Bill. That's what I've been doing to prepare for the Bill Michaels Open coming up at Viroqua Hills. 3 times a week for the last month, I've been driving to Viroqua to play. So this whole Strait of Hormuz business is really gouging me because gas is expensive. Tony in Texas says, Grant, Coachella, free ticket, puff or pass? Who's on the line? That's the second Coachella question. Who's headlining? Do I have to travel there? Is everything free? Like, do I have to take vacation days? More than just a ticket. Sabrina Carpenter, all due, no thanks. I'm looking at the Friday lineup here. Jeez. Am I old? Oh, Sexy Red. I'd go for that. No, not much on Friday for me. I'd go to see Bieber. Bieber rules. All right. Bieber rules. I'd go see the Strokes. Play Saturday. I'd do Saturday. Young Thug is headlining Sunday, and Young Thug is good, but that's not going to be good live. It'll suck live. Although we did tweet today that people are wanting Maria, I'm Drunk, and that is an incredible song. But, of course, that features Bieber. So we're back to the beginning. I would go to see Bieber because Bieber's awesome. Lee says, what is more likely to happen? The Badgers hire a new AD, or you open one of my Snapchats. Well, I don't go on Snapchat. I'm not 6. I'll check my Snapchat. All kidding aside, I heard you love Billy Strings, just like 60 Days Sober. I figured your favorite songs were Dust in a Baggie, California Sober, Cocaine Blues, and 7 Weeks in Country. What's number 1 for you? Love the show. My favorite Billy Strings song? I mean, it's basic, but probably Away from the Mire. Just a good song. Just a really good song. And Gild the Lily, his newest song, is pretty bitchin'. Probably Away from the Mire. Just not overthink it. Anthony Kiedis and Away from the Mire. 2 very simple questions or 2 very simple answers, I know, but probably Away from the Mire. Know It All is really good too. I like when he covers I'm Still Here by John Hartford, but that's a cover, and I don't think he has a recording of that. So you got to bootleg that. Have an excellent night. We don't have to watch the Brewers, thank God. I'll be back tomorrow at 4. We can pick up on all of this. Podcast will go up in just a couple minutes. Thank you for listening always.